Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, a bill that is being debated in the state of Maine essentially says that if parents do not want their children to seek gender affirming care, in other words, having themselves mutilated, that the authorities will have the right to take their children from them. Yeah, this is the world we're living in. Okay, this is the world we're living in. So let's get right into this article because this is absolutely insane, but it's going to get more insane and more insane and more insane and more insane the more we keep people like this in positions of authority. We keep these kind of politicians in authority, it's going to get more and more insane. So let's get right into this. Yeah, this is crazy, man. Thankfully, it's only being debated, but the article says a bill being debated in Maine's state legislature would give authorities the power to take children away from parents who oppose allowing medical providers to impose gender affirming care onto their children. The bill, LD 1735, they kill me with these crazy numbers, and is explicit about this startling new power. Wow. It says, in its summary, for instance, directly states, quote, the bill authorizes a court to take temporary jurisdiction because a child has been unable to obtain gender affirming health care or gender affirming mental health care. And the crazy thing about it, even if it says temporary jurisdiction, such a thing shouldn't even be. This is just absolutely insane. Taking people's children from them because they don't want their children to be mutilated, basically, with that. Absolutely insane. But I'm not surprised. Let's go on. There seems to be no provision made for religious objection. Of course not. Parents would have no parental rights on the issue. Either they allow their children to be exposed to dangerous and permanent transgendering drugs and surgeries, or they lose them to the state. Wow. If the bill is passed and signed into law, Maine would join other states in eliminating parental rights in favor of the radical transgender movement. A law passed last year in the state of Washington, for instance, that prevents estranged parents of minors undergoing transgendering treatment from having any say in the medical treatment of their children. You better keep your mouth shut. Leave that alone. Let these kids have their bodies mutilated. What you talking about, parent? You have no right for that. Don't shut your mouth. Anyway, article goes on. In California, of course, California, the deep blue state, right? A law was enacted last year that forces courts to weigh conflicts over gender affirming care in custody matters, giving weight to the child seeking transgendering over parental opposition. Also in New York, Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul, I guess that's how you pronounce the name, signed a bill. Wow. See, it's these Democrats, man. These Democrats and these fake Republicans, right? Signed a bill that protects youth seeking transgendering in the Empire State, even if those children are from other states and are not citizens of New York. End of article. And I hate to talk about stuff like this sometimes because it can be somewhat sensationalized. But but at the same time, it has to be talked about because the more you talk about these issues, the more exposure, hopefully, that it'll get. But yeah, this is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy for a lawmaker to debate, or lawmakers in general, to sit up and debate about a bill that would literally take children away from parents that do not want their children to have this gender affirming care. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I could see if the parents were abusing their children, but this is clearly not an example of abuse by parents. This is an example of abuse by the legal system, the legislative board in the state of Maine. Because essentially what they're saying in so many ways is, parents, we don't care about your children being abused by having these surgeries placed on them and having them take these pills and these medications to alter their body. It's really abuse, but we don't care about that. Us lawmakers in Maine, we don't care about that. We want that to happen because I don't know, maybe some deal they have with these people that are these surgeons that are putting altering these young people's bodies. I have no clue, but it is clear that the legislators there are the ones actually abusing these young children. It's interesting to me and maddening to me as well that we have gotten to a point in our country that evil is good and good is evil. But I've been saying that for the longest. I'm going to just repeat it. Now, what I am glad about is that just this is debated. And so therefore, the bill hasn't gotten anywhere yet. It's being debated. Okay, so they got to go through the process. But what I am glad about, in addition to that, is the fact that this is state control. This is not federal control. Okay, this is state. All states do not do this kind of nonsense. All states are not involved in this madness. But what is crazy is that when it's a major state like California or New York, and they do these type of things, and the legislators do these type of things and sign these kind of bills, okay, other states start to follow them because these are major states. In fact, the people that are campaigning for the president usually go to these major states to try to win votes because they're huge. They're huge, and they have a lot of people, and they have a lot of the governors and the mayors and so forth have a lot of authority and they have a lot of power. So I am glad that it's just state, it's just a state situation, but at the same time, it still shows the level of what I would call mental illness, if you will, with our politicians. Now, I will say this as well, that even though it is something based on the state, even though it is limited to the state, these more and more states are trying to do this. Like my own state here in Ohio, our governor, who's supposed to be a Republican, basically signed a bill that would allow, that would allow children to get this gender affirming operations on their bodies. I would have thought that someone like this, he's supposed to be a Republican, would be against it, but clearly he's not. And I tore him apart on one of my videos. But the point is this. It is simply this, that even though it is limited to the state, more states are doing this. Why? Because they are encouraged by the Biden administration to do this. I did a video almost, I think a little over a year ago, where Biden gave a speech encouraging parents, or basically pushing parents to encourage their children who want to get these operations on them. Basically, he was saying, in so many words, parents encourage them. If your child wants to get their body altered, encourage them with it. Instead of saying, parents, you're the parents, don't do something. No, encourage them to do this. President Biden said that. Okay. How can anyone with any sense of morality support a president or support any leader that pushes this kind of worldview on innocent children? Even if a child wants to do this, there is something wrong with that child psychologically and spiritually. And it is the parent's job to try to correct that. But I guess not. With some parents, they're so messed up that when they have children, they don't know what to say to the children. So all they can say, because they themselves are psychologically and spiritually messed up, well, hey, if that's what you want, that's what you want, son. If that's what you want, that's what you want, daughter. Because they themselves are messed up, the parents. And why are the parents messed up? Because ever since the 60s counterculture revolution, it corrupted and destroyed a lot of our families. So now families don't understand, and fathers and mothers don't understand the difference between right or wrong. So you have fathers and mothers trying to be friends with their sons and daughters, instead of trying to be parents and correcting their sons and daughters and teaching their sons and daughters and guiding their sons and daughters like parents were called to do. They're doing the direct opposite. And that's one of the reasons why so many of our children, our young people, are messed up psychologically, messed up physically, and messed up spiritually, is because the parents are messed up. So you have parents that encourage this kind of stuff. So Biden actually encourages this type of stuff. Look at it in my video archives. You'll find it. I done made a lot of videos. You will find it. Okay, this isn't a conspiracy theory. He actually said that. So because he pushed this kind of ideology, Biden did, it motivates rather, or encourages other states who have this radical mindset in terms of the legislators. It encourages them to do the same thing. This is going to say, hey, let's pass laws that supports this kind of worldview. Because we have an administration that encourages it. This would never happen under Trump. Even though Trump is somewhat of a moderate conservative and he has no problem with the gay rights movement and so forth. And remember the last video I did, I talked about how that Trump had someone was telling me that Trump had a gay flag during when he was I think during his first term, only term actually, he had during the gay Pride Month, he had a gay flag waving it. Trump is not an extremist, though. He is against pushing this kind of ideology on innocent children. But now you have an administration that encourages this kind of mutilation of children. So it's easier for other state legislators to say, hey, we got a federal government administration that encourages it. Why not? I don't know what these politicians in Maine and others are getting paid, but they must be getting paid something. And if not, their morals are completely down the drain. So my answer to this is that there is solutions. And the solutions is we might just as American people have to look for populist candidates and no longer look at established politicians to be the ones to fix the problems. Now, on a spiritual level, I believe, of course, that, God is, we need to bring prayer back into the schools and bring morality back into the schools, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen unless God just come down and just completely shake America on its head, That's not going to happen. So the best next thing would be, as human beings, we would have to look to populist candidates to be the ones to change the course of this country. Populist candidates who believe in the Constitution, who believe in right or wrong, who believe in that if you want something, you got to work for it. Okay, it's not going to be given to you. Who believe in the nuclear family. And you don't have to be a Christian to believe that. You're just someone who has strong morals and values that you may have inherited from your family, or maybe later on in life, you started making decisions that you felt were best. And you had that inner pull in you that said, wait a minute, some things are right, certain things are wrong. Let me just get my act together. So that may have been the case, but whatever the case may be, this is what I think the ultimate answer may be. That as American people, we're going to have to look towards populist candidates on a local, state, and federal level to change the course of this country. Just like with Trump and Ramaswamy, I can't pronounce his name. You know what I'm talking about. Now he's saying Ramaswamy's talking about now that he's going to support Trump now. So you have two populist candidates who are not necessarily politicians, trying to bring America back to where it once was. And people are rallying behind them. Or so it appears, okay? We may have to go to that route. That's the answer. On a purely physical and political level, that is the answer. On a spiritual level, that's something different. But on a purely physical and political and moral level, let me add that moral level, that is the answer. Because regular politicians, both Democrats and Republicans, no, they're bought and sold. They're bought and sold, as far as I know. Maybe a few out there that truly are working for the people. But those that are not, they're not working for the people. They're working for the globalist elite to push their satanic agenda. So that's what I had to say about that. This is disgusting, but I'm thankful that it's just on a state level and it's just a debate. But let me end the video on this. As I said earlier, it's interesting and crazy at the same time to be even debating about it. Why would you debate about what's there to debate about? These are the parents of these children. Why are you debating about it? What's to discuss? What's to discuss? That shows you the moral fabric of our country has been completely destroyed. And unless we get populist candidates on a local, state, and federal level back into these positions, we're going to go under. I hate to be pessimistic, but we're going to go under if we don't. So those of you, and ending this video, those of you that are saved and believe in God and believe in Jesus, we need to continue to pray for our country, because those of you that are Christians and have a relationship with God through Jesus Christ, you know this is spiritual. The book of Ephesians chapter 6 says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, demonic spirits, and spiritual wickedness in high places. You know this is a spiritual battle. So those of you that are watching this video, that believe in the power of prayer, that believe that Jesus is real, that believe in God, we need to pray intensely. We need to pray fervently for our country, that God will send a revival on the local, state, and federal level. On the second tier, those of you who believe in right or wrong, believe in nuclear family, believe in capitalism, believe that whatever you want, you got to earn it and work for it. Vote the right people in office. There's always solutions to the problem. So that's what I had to say about that. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.